This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello, Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP text on the VIP text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. I'm Cam Poitras. Jim Toth, how are you? How are you doing? How are things going for you?
Wow, you're like saying that like you actually care.
Well, I do feign. I can feign giving a...
Show caught me off guard today.
Did it?
Yeah. Somebody changed some stuff in the studio.
What's going on here?
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I guess...
it crept up on me today. I don't know. It starts the same time every day, and then it's just like we're starting. I was talking to Jeffrey.
It's because we start earlier now. We're like 2-3 minutes earlier than we usually are. It's setting you off.
Jeffrey Jeffy, what'd you call him in high school?
I knew Jeffrey when we were in high school. I knew him as Jeffy.
Jeffy, okay.
That was what he was. That's what he was told. That's what he was told. That was like how he's introduced to me.
And he's laughing to himself now because he's like, I was just talking to this guy. He had no clue what time it was, and he just got caught off guard.
You should have seen the look on Jim's face.
Act professional. Thank you. I'm doing well today. I'm very, very, very interested to hear what Jets are. Look, so I think they played better. Now, better is very...
Yes.
Up for debate because you can't play much worse than they did against Buffalo and throughout the majority of this road trip.
Yesterday on the post-game show, Christian O'Mell, 680 CJOB sports show host, actually put it well. He said the bar was so low to the ground that any measurable improvement would have been improvement last night. The Jets go on to lose 3-2 in a shootout. Yeah, I mean, the team played better, Jim, and I want to kick things off, and I wanted to, the reason why I usually like to open up with a clip. Today I didn't, because I wanted to add a little bit of a preamble leading into it. Okay.
And it threw me off guard.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
That's what set you off. It was my fault.
It's never my fault.
No, of course not. And it was about this comment, and I want you to listen to Scott Arniel, okay? And listen close to the tone and the way that he says this when asked how he thought his team did last night.
That was night and day different than the other night. Our compete level, our execution, just the way we did it. I don't think we gave up any odd man situations. If we did, they were very limited compared to last game. We did a great job of not only our forwards, getting over top of people, tracking back. Our D did a great job with their gaps, and that was a battle of two good goaltenders. Dolish and Comrie, both goaltenders made some big stops, and there was a lot of different looks for each team. And at the end of the day, I'm happy how I would like the 2 points, but I'm happy with our effort.
Okay, so Scott Arniel's tone there. I mean, he's the game after Carolina, the game after Buffalo, a lot more biting comments after the game in Carolina. But if you're reading between the lines, as harsh of comments against the Sabres after the loss in the Sabres. Just not as, in your face about it, but if you're listening to what he's saying, harsh comments after the Sabres game. Now, the Jets able to pick up a point, still lose 3-2 in a shootout. I wonder, Jim, and I wanted to ask you this question. Does Scott Arniel take a tone like that last year after a game, like last night, where the Winnipeg Jets, according to NHL.com, had 26 turnovers? 26 turnovers. Some of them egregious. What do you think?
No, he doesn't. And he knows he's got a fragile team right now. And in my opinion, Cam, they played tentative. There was a lot of aggressiveness. There was a lot of, stuff that we're kind of used to seeing. And then there was a lot of, I don't want to make a mistake. Like, there was a lot of subconscious in that game to me we're terrible right now, and we are spiraling. I just bit my tongue by accident.
Is this an all-time start to Jets at Noon for Jim Toth?
Can I start? Well, like the Jets, I got to get off to a better start.
That's right. Okay, keep going.
Spiraling. And so I think that there was a lot of moments where they tried to do things that they had confidence in, but they clearly don't have confidence, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's not second nature to them anymore. They're struggling and they're fighting it. So I don't think he says that last year. I think he said, you know what I think he says after a game like that last year? It's the Utah game.
Yeah.
Too many turnovers. That's not us, blah, blah. But he's seen that literally too many times this year to harp on it. Look, I know that I thought in my mind they played better. They got a point. It's a step forward. Like Christian said, nowhere to go but up. But still, what's the opposite? We didn't see the opposite, right? We didn't see another game of Buffalo. So you have to, it's not going to happen overnight. They're just not going to have a day off and all of a sudden show up and blow the doors off Montreal 6-1.
It feels like
I didn't expect that.
And I understand why people are saying, well, why not? Last year was last year was not a mirage.
They're trying to find their game. And last year they had 3 lines that were contributing, and they don't this year. And then the guys that are here are trying not to do things to cost them 26 turnovers in a game. So I was wondering about today because, you know, I went to bed and I got up today and I'm like, well, they played better, but there's still a lot of work to be done here and a long way to go.
Yeah.
And they got a point. It's something to build on. And I was interested to see people's reaction. Well, walking around down here and stuff, I just passed somebody I knew who said, man, the Jets suck. And I'm like, well, they played better last night. He's like, yeah, but they're terrible. And I'm like, okay, like, so, and let us know, 780-6868. A lot of your opinions haven't changed. I'm not sitting here going, that's them and everything's fixed. I didn't expect that, Cam. What I said yesterday was, after Lowry and after Arniel and everything like that, I would be stunned and I would be reaching for everybody who tells us to hit the panic button. I would be reaching for it now if they got their doors blown off like they did in Buffalo. But they didn't. I'm not sitting here sugarcoating anything either. There's a lot of work to do. And Montreal's Montreal, and you know, they're fast and all this. And man, they had some, both teams had some, but to me, that was 2 teams playing desperate hockey. And when you play desperate hockey, you do some good things and you make some mistakes. And that's what I thought they did last night. The key for me, where this all begins to get this team back going, whether it's fair or not, is Eric Comrie. The key has been for years, Connor Hellebuyck. No matter how the team's playing in front of him, good or bad, it starts with him. And if they can get good performances out of goaltenders, then the team can build off that. But it's not perfect, and it wasn't great, but it was a step forward. I think I would be pushing the panic button today if they got their doors blown off or they played like they did against Buffalo. They did not. They did a lot of good things last night. They did a lot of terrible things last night. And somewhere in between this is where they have to find themselves and go. This isn't the same team. It's just not. And I think most people understand that now. Now, the other thing that I noticed was the fourth line of Barron, Pearson, and Koepke did a lot of good things.
Yeah, they played heavy.
Pearson and Koepke got in on the forecheck. And that's where it begins with me. When we talk about team speed and are they fast enough, those guys aren't, burner speed, but they did what they needed to do to force turnovers, get the forecheck, and start defensively. There were still pockets of that game where Montreal came through the neutral zone way too easy, and there were pockets of the game where they didn't. And to me, this is what makes this team.
That's why Arniel's talking about the rush chances and the odd man rushes. They were able to put a stop to that.
They didn't give that too many up. There wasn't too many odd man. If there was an odd man, it was because a nice play by a Habs player like Caulfield beat a guy or two, and then there was an odd man situation. But I still think, like, I'm not out on they're not fast enough. They need to get they need to play faster, and I think they can, regardless of personnel. And then you can address the speed thing of this and that. But I thought Comrie was sensational. I thought he kept him in the game. I thought they built off what they had. But again, there's still a lack of secondary scoring here that unless Scheifele and Connor are Scheifele and Connor, they lose that game again.
Let's play this clip. This is from Scott Arniel on the second line.
Yeah, they were. It was zone time, too. It isn't always necessarily goals or, getting shots. Sometimes it's just wearing the opposition down, and it's building it up for the next line to go. But I really like JT's line. That line had some really good looks, and then, Lau's line and Bear's line was heavy, and they played that heavy game that kind of wears them down. And hopefully we continue with that kind of recipe that it builds, and we get some of these pucks to go in the net and score some goals and build some confidence off of that.
So I think that's the exact same tone that I was talking about earlier. I think he knows that the second line is fragile. They don't have any confidence right now, and if he's seeing there being some more offensive zone time, they're creating a little bit more. Yeah. He's not just going to stomp all over and say, "Wow, they didn't do enough." we can't hang our hat on that second line improving anymore. They have to start putting the puck in the net, and it has to happen now because, honestly, they're able to bury one last night. That's the difference in that hockey game.
So here's what I take from that. They were better, and they played better. But is that good enough? That's two different topics. He wasn't asked if that second line plays like that going forward, is that good enough? Yeah. He wasn't asked that. He was asked about them and they did play better. And he's right. They did get some more sustained zone time. I just don't know long term if that's, they're going to have to play like that and play better. Mm-hmm. But he's not wrong. They played well. But what you're listening to, in my opinion, is coaching. That's coaching. He's called them out. He's done that. You can't sit here and go, John Tortorella would sit there and go, that's still not good enough. You can't do that. You're trying to get these guys back. You're trying to get them back with some confidence because they didn't play with confidence in my mind last night. Yeah. They played tentative. And you're trying to build something here. And that's what coaching is. We all know what's going on. Everybody listening, you and I and the coaching staff. But how you get them to perform better is what the coaching part is. And I don't think they perform better after performing better if you call them out again. I also think that he's smart enough to know, and this is what coaching is, would you like to see a giant step forward last night? Yes. Did you? No. But did you see a step forward? A small one? Yes. Then you build on that.
Yeah.
You don't come in today or last night and go, guys, I was better, but come on. You go, hey, guys, that's what I'm talking about. Keep getting better at that. Do that. That's coaching. And for all the fans out there who want the panic button pushed and don't have the patience for this, that's why you're not coaching.
Well, that's the one thing. It's just, and I understand why some people, when we already got text messages on it, would be like building, it's sort of a difficult word to sort of wrap your mind around about this team, particularly after the last couple seasons they had President's Trophy last year, and we're discussing building. One thing that I'd love to do more on is the difference between year over year. And maybe that's a topic for another day that we need to go over, and just how much different each season is beyond just the personnel changes. Each season sort of takes on a life of its own, and the other one essentially becomes irrelevant. What happened last year becomes irrelevant towards this one, and you have to start fresh and start new. And the Winnipeg Jets are looking to build, and it's a difficult word to wrap your mind around. This team shouldn't be building. They should know who they are by this point.
But they are where they are, and that's what I give the coaching staff, Scott Arniel, credit for. He knows where they are, and all of last year and everything else is gone. He realizes now we're in one here, as the hockey term goes. You're in one right now, right?
Arniel is like,
and you're fighting it.
Look at the back of this road trip and how he said to coach each game completely differently heading into each game.
Your job isn't to turn it around in a minute. Your job is in order to get this turned around and make the playoffs. You got to start somewhere, and I think you start with last night.
Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash as well. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza, coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. The number one caller will get a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza tomorrow. Let's take a break. Let's come back. There's a text message. We got one from Johnny, Utah. And he brings something up that you mentioned to me.
Johnny, Utah understands getting over some stuff.
He asked.
Could have been a star.
He asked me, or he puts a text message here.
Had to arrest his friend on the beach.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough times. He brought something up that you mentioned to me before, and I'll ask you when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Lots of time for your text messages, 204-780-6868, like this one from Johnny, Utah. Johnny, Utah says, why was Jonathan Toews not the third shooter last night? He's one of the nimblest shootout shooters ever. I don't know, Jim Toth, why wasn't he
I have no problem with Gabe Vilardi in the shootout, and he beat the goalie with a great move. He just hit the post.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with that. We'll talk Toews in overtime and stuff in the next segment.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, yeah.
When it comes to the shootout, all I know is from the practices I've covered over the years, they practice this once every 2 weeks. Now, this year, I don't know if they're practicing at all because they don't have any practice time, but they kind of do it. They go through it. Players go with what they're comfortable with, and how they pick it is just, some coaches go on who's hot that game, which two of the guys that took shots were hot last night. And they take somebody who, I love Vilardi's move, and he beat him. I think he's 1 for 1. Like, he beat somebody else. By the way, Gabe Vilardi in the postgame last night, sensational.
That was classic Gabe Vilardi.
Just like, well, I mean, they're in one. He's fighting. He's feeling it. He literally said, he goes, well, they said good feeling, at least getting a point. I know you lost coming off the road trip and heading home, something to build on. Well, we've lost a lot, so I guess. Like, he's not happy, right?
No,
like
why would he? Johnny, Johnny mentions, of course, shootout. I pulled this up, actually, just based on your text message. All-time shootout percentage, 46.8% for Jonathan Toews. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
And also, of course, the World Junior scored 3 times in 2007 against the U.S. to win the gold. But again, that was a long time ago, so I have no problem with the way the Winnipeg Jets sent out their skaters. Hey, more of your thoughts when we come back. And I want to talk about what do you think about Jonathan Toews in overtime. Jim Toth's going to give us thoughts when we come back. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza.
I got some intel on Wash Method.
You do?
This morning?
Do tell.
The early hours when I was leaving, they were closed for maintenance, which means they're taking care of you. Like, they're getting stuff ready, upgrading.
Yeah, they have to.
Some car washes, and I don't know this because I've never worked at one, but they probably just run all year nonstop. Not Wash Method. They shut down, they clean it up, they get it ready.
They take care of business.
And then they reopen and go, we're going to be even better right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why they're the best in the business. That's why they refer to it as the Paris of the
Paris of the, well
it's the Eiffel Tower of, the Eiffel Tower.
It's the Niagara Falls of Manitoba.
Yeah, Niagara Falls.
Romance. And it's been far
Eiffel
too
Tower.
long.
It has been.
When I drove by today, Richard Marks came into my head. I'm like, it's been too long. It's been too long.
Jonathan Toews in OT. What did you think about him?
I was curious about it for 2 reasons. Obviously, he's not fleet of foot. And secondly, every second shift are the fastest skaters Montreal has, and Cole Caulfield and things like that, or guys like that, Nick Suzuki. So I was kind of curious about it. And then I think the second or third shift he made that great pass to Nemestikov, who just was a great save. So he created that opportunity. But I was, again, I'm not a coach. I was like, I don't know. If you lose possession here, I don't know if Jonathan Toews is going to catch anybody. But I also don't know if you just go on speed, right? You obviously have skill and stuff. And he made the great pass. But I was a little concerned when he was over the board so many times in overtime about what is he going to get accomplished here. But again, then I thought, like, I'm always thinking, trying to figure out what coaches are thinking. And then I thought, well, if he could, like, if Nemestikov buries that great pass, then maybe he gets going, right? Like, maybe his confidence goes. And he didn't cost them anything, I will say that. But there were times when the Jets wouldn't have the puck and he was out there, and I'm like, oh man, if I'm Caulfield, I'm going up that side, I'm going to blow by you.
Well, that would be, Martin St. Louis. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And so, but again, who am I to judge? And maybe that is a way to get him going and stuff. I thought they did have a better game yesterday. I thought Perfetti, looked a little dangerous, but he's got to start scoring.
It's got to go in. I mean, there's no excuses anymore.
Like,
he's got to start putting the puck
I really
in.
like Cole Perfetti. Anybody who listens to the show knows I believe in him. I think he's going to be 60, 70-point guy, all this. I do wish it was this year. I think it needs to be this year. Clearly. He had 50 points last year. He needs to go, I don't know if it's going to happen now, but he needs in the games that are remaining, I think he needs to be a 60, 70-point guy year in, year out. He had the injury, which hurt him and everything like that. But I didn't like the reaction when he scored the other day. And it wasn't in Buffalo. It was Nashville. When he scored in Nashville. So, like 2 years ago, we all know you could tell he was fighting it. You could tell in his voice in the postgame. He's such a great interview in the postgames and everything else. He wears his heart in his sleeve. I get that. Who am I to tell him? But I'm at the point of, you need to get rid of that. I'm so relieved I scored. That is in your first 2 to 3 years in the league and you're learning the ways and stuff. You're expected more of now. I don't want to see the whole, and I get it, like Ehlers used to do the whole monkey off my back. But Ehlers was never lacking in confidence, ever.
No.
He would tell you right out, I haven't played well in 4 games, and I need to get better at this and better at that. But when he went back on the ice the next game, he was full of confidence, 100% firing.
He didn't carry it with him, no.
I think Cole, I wish anyways, I wish Cole Perfetti get to a point where when he scored in Nashville, he turned and did the fist pumps and went to the bench and said, at least to himself, here we go, the floodgates are going to open. The whole thank the heavens and oh my gosh and thankfully and finally it's over and all that does not make me feel like the floodgates are going to open. Does not make me feel like, and I get it, right? Like you listen to him in the postgame and I almost sometimes want to give him a hug. He's so down and feeling the losses and how he needs to bury some chances and all this.
He's very melancholic. You know what I mean?
Which makes him a great person and a great player.
Yeah.
But in my mind, you got to shed that. You got to get rid of that and start going, it's about time I scored, and here comes the rest of them.
It's exactly how I felt about Jack Campbell as an NHL netminder. He was far too emotional. It was like they'd lose in Toronto, they'd lose in Edmonton, and it was like his heart was ripped out. He was like a puddle on the floor. And then you'd contrast that with guys like Carey Price and Connor Hellebuyck after a loss. It's very still even-keeled and calm. I agree with you. I think Perfetti needs to move past it. He needs to work with sports psychologists, and he needs to get that out of him.
Even
because
a year ago,
it's obviously how he's built.
Yeah.
It's who he is.
A year ago, if he didn't throw the monkey off his back thing, but he threw his hands up in the air and he was like looking to the heavens,
thank
God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in your first couple of years, but now you need to stop being thankful that one finally went in for you. And I get it because he's been unlucky, and start change your path, change your direction, change your course, get some confidence, have a shift, then have another one, keep going, be relentless. It's just the whole, great opportunity, fans on the shot, and he's like, oh, I can't believe I missed that, and blah, blah, blah. I need him to get to a point where I am good, I'm in the top 6, and I'm going to start dominating here.
Ron texts the show and says, a positive take from yesterday's game. Solomonson looks like a player, big, fast, and smart. Wish me luck going to Edmonton this weekend to watch my Jets. Good luck, Ron.
Oh, good luck, Ron.
Is Solomonson, and I hesitate that because I think we're in a spot right now with the Jets on that third pairing where the biggest upside you can clearly see is from Solomonson. I'm hesitant right now to say that he is their best option game in and game out on that third pairing on the right side on the blue line. I think that's too premature for me to say something like that. But does Solomonson have a much higher ceiling than Colin Miller and Schenn?
Oh, yeah.
100% he does.
Yeah, he's got a higher ceiling. But much like the Jets, it's not going to just happen, right? He's not going to I'm reminded of Josh Morrissey. When he was a rookie with the Moose, like he was an offensive guy who could play physical, very good defensively, and smart. And for October, November, December, every game he seemed to say he's got 5 great qualities. One of the great qualities would come to the forefront, and the rest wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then it was right around Christmas time, early January with the Moose. Boom. All of a sudden, every single night, all 5 qualities are optimized and just rolling with it. And that's how I kind of see Solomonson. It's going to take him a while.
There's going to be more turnovers.
You definitely see the positive aspects of his game.
There's going to be more turnovers, absolutely,
that are going to solidify and stuff. But sometimes the schedule hurts you and sometimes it doesn't. I think this is helping them. They get a point in Montreal. 2 would have been great. I get that. Mm-hmm. But they get a point in Montreal, they come home. Then it's redemption time against Buffalo. Then they get on a plane and go to Edmonton. I could see this lineup staying the same against Buffalo. And then when it goes into Edmonton, I wonder if you bring Schenn back in. And I know people are going to go Schenn against McDavid. I get it. But no, it's going to be Schenn against that bottom 6. And that's just the way I kind of feel it. Or maybe you put Solomonson in there and stuff. But
did you notice Gustav Nyquist wasn't on the ice?
I did, yeah.
You noticed that he wasn't there?
You couldn't tell the difference. Could you? Is that your joke?
I'm saying I just didn't recognize. I didn't even think about him. Like most games where he's been playing, he has not factored in.
Do you keep the lineup the same tomorrow night against Buffalo?
Oh, Absolutely, yeah.
Redemption time,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah. You're gonna keep these guys going here.
Or do you bring Gustafsson back in and go, there's your set.
See, that was the thing with
Arniel.
Like it's so easy for me to sit here and say that it shouldn't have been playing for like the last 4 games, and this should have been the 4th line where there was a little bit of something. There was more of a character that 4th line. It had a definition.
Yeah.
and throughout that game, I just think Nyquist is he's been given so many opportunities. They're trying to get him to go because they know he can score. They know he can score.
So do you bring him back in and go, hey, there's your sit. Let's see what you got as a veteran, or do you sit him again?
No, you see what happens in Buffalo, and then you make a decision based, or and in Winnipeg against.
And one
Buffalo.
thing I'm reminded of when we do see the healthy scratch, that people are always like, why don't they healthy scratch this guy and teach him a lesson? Why don't they do this, teach him a lesson?
Yeah, because
the coach's job is to get the most out of them. And so
I just think Goose Nyquist has had so much leash given to him because he's a veteran. He's an NHL veteran. He's had a long time in this league.
And that's my point to this healthy scratch. I don't think it was just a healthy scratch. I think it's something that for a couple of weeks the coaching staff have been going, Gus, this is what we need more of. Gus, this is what we want. Gus, how can we help you get to a point where, hey, we're going to try you down on this fourth line and see if that helps. We're going to do this. And then it got to a point where it's like, we're going to sit you down and just watch. And then, when you get back in, it's never done as punitive anymore unless you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
It's done as a many facets to try and get the best out of you.
Well, he's 883 games in the NHL. That doesn't happen by accident. A guy doesn't get to almost 900 games just on a fluke, right? There's obviously something to him. And he's at the tail end of his career at 36, and he hasn't been the impact that the Winnipeg Jets need, or even half of that impact. But you understand why he moved quickly down the lineup, down from the second line onto the third line, now onto the fourth. Now he spent last night in the press box. This is they're not getting what they want from him. And he was given a long leash. We talk about that, right? Certain players have longer leash. And so I think until there's a game where the Jets are going to go like, wow, we need to change things up.
But he might be at a point in his career, like he's 34 years old, right?
36.
36?
Yeah.
Sorry, he's 36 years old. He might be at a point when the coaches go like I'm looking at him play, Cam, and I'm like, you're on a new team, first and foremost. What do you do when you're on a new team, whether you're 21 or 36? I want to be a part of this. I got to toe my weight. I want to be. The second thing you do is I'm 36. Do I want to play again next year? Mm-hmm. Then I got to get some stuff done here. I got to, blah, blah, blah. I don't see a lot of that in his game. I see a lot of, I'm an NHL player and I'm going to work hard and I enjoy playing.
I don't see a lot of
desperation in his game.
I don't see the urgency. I don't. Yeah. I just don't.
And maybe he's fine with that, right? Like maybe he goes, I'll play one more year on a good team at 36, and then I have plans next year. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying I expected to see in the last 2 weeks a lot more desperation in his game.
Oh, I would agree with that. I want to talk about Eric Comrie, and then we'll take a break. And I have a question for you in the final segment. But we'll talk about Eric Comrie here, and then we'll squeeze in a couple text messages from you guys. 204-780. 68. Eric Comrie, great outing, 29 saves. But do we have the confidence he can hold the line like that in Hellebuyck's absence? Jim, what do you think?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, he was great last night. And I want to emphasize this. They did a great job in our I know this is biased, but our 680 CJOB pregame show last night of saying he needs to be better.
Oh, yeah.
And even Paul Edmonds, when they did the segment with the boys in the booth, and he's like, I think he would tell you that. But that's why I think, like, of all the things we're looking at, secondary scoring and the poor team defensive play and everything else, also, Comrie has to be what he was last night. Mm-hmm. And he had to be that in Buffalo, and he had to be that, in Carolina, and he had to be that. Well, he didn't start in Carolina.
No matter what game he plays, either he's going to play Buffalo or
he's got to be like he was last night.
Or Edmonton, yeah. He's got to keep playing like this.
He's got to be in the fight, and he's got to give his team a chance, and he's got to make some big saves. The way they're playing defensively, he's got to be at the forefront and be a key part to every game.
I'm going to squeeze a couple text messages in here, then we're going to take a break. Daryl says, watch the highlights. When I came home from working on the railroad all the live long day.
Thank you for what you do.
Won't you blow? Bad joke. Trading block time to get Cole and Logan Stanley. They have to go. Those two, you might get something. Throw in Nyquist. Stanley can't keep up. Embarrassing how he gave the puck up around the net. Comrie played well, stood on his head. Not too late to turn it around, but not with this current group. Cheers. That one from DC. Daryl F., another Daryl, says, in my opinion, the Jets did not play better. If not for Comrie, it would have been 6-2 Canadiens. I won't say that the Winnipeg Jets, they did definitely play better. Like, stat-wise, all that stuff. But if Comrie, I mean, that first period, you imagine they were down 3-0 going into or 3-1 or something like that. It would have been a lot different.
Or just how fragile this team is if they even give up the lead. Like if it goes 1 or 2-0.
Matt says even if the Jets can turn things around and get into the playoffs, they will be facing a tough road with Minnesota, Dallas, and Colorado. Yeah, I mean, let's the playoffs. Don't worry about where you land in the playoffs. Just get in there.
You got to get
there. And this texter says, as far as I'm concerned, the Winnipeg Jets played a heck of a good game last night after 5 days on the road. So everybody suck it up now if they continue the way they are and continue to go to the net and shoot at the net.
You know what?
And put it on net.
And Mark Scheifele with our friend Sean Reynolds of Sportsnet said this in the pregame. And he said, sometimes these things aren't a bad thing. And so that's what the mentality of the team is, right? Let's get better. Let's get our game back. Let's play better. Let's get in. It's going to be a long road here now because of the hole we dug, but let's get into the playoffs. And to what Chris Pronger said on Monday, the year we won the President's Trophy, we went into the playoffs, and I didn't feel we faced any adversity that year in the regular season.
Maybe this is sour grapes for me, but I feel that way about Colorado so far this year. They have one regulation loss.
Yeah.
What have they faced? They've been blowing teams out by 4 goals. How much adversity have they faced when they go into the playoffs, right? I mean,
well, look at Buffalo.
Season by season.
Boston. Colorado's chasing Boston's record they set just a couple seasons ago. And what happened to them?
Let's take a break.
And then look at the fall off after that.
Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets and Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. I'm going to ask you this question, Jim. Final segment here. Does Buffalo, the game at Buffalo, have to be the low point of this season? Congratulations to our VIP texter. Comes from Kirk. Kirk says, Perfetti can be traded. Convince me otherwise. Kirk, congratulations. You have a VIP car wash. Can be traded.
I think you could, yeah. I think some teams would want him.
I think if it makes the team better, I think it's something you look at.
I mean, let me ask you this. Who's the best player in the second line?
Cole Perfetti.
Why are you trading him then?
Yeah.
And what do you think you're getting for him? Another second line player.
Yeah. So that's always the conundrum, right?
Trade the players. I think you can get a top 4 D-man.
Trade the players that you don't like for players that you like on other teams. That's not how the whole thing works.
If you brought in a top 4 D-man and sent Cole Perfetti out, now what are you looking at on the second line?
I want to ask you this, Jim, as we wrap up the show here. Does the game at Buffalo, the 5-1 loss, does that for this Jets team to turn things around? Does that have to be the low point? And okay, Montreal's a step up. I will 100% agree with that. It was a step up. It was still a loss, able to pick up some points. Does that have to be rock bottom is too harsh of a term, but does it have to be the low point of the season? And do things have to, it's not going to be linear. It never is. But now do things have to totally trend upwards?
Yeah, I would think it has to be rock bottom. And because, Cam, if they have another one like against Buffalo 2 weeks from now, you're running out of time.
Yeah.
It's not great to ever have this, but if you hit rock bottom in Buffalo and you can get a point against Buffalo and you can get, or 2 points against Buffalo, and you can go to Edmonton and get maybe a point out of there, you're climbing, right? But you can't go up and down for 2 or 3 weeks and then be at the end of December and then have another game like you had in Buffalo. Because come January, you're out of time. And I know St. Louis in 2019, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know. It's such an outlier, though. I mean
Connor Hellebuyck's going to help. Like the texter yesterday, I think they're playing so poorly defensively that even Connor Hellebuyck, he's going to keep one of the 5 goals out or maybe 2. But if you're not only scoring 1, you're still going to lose those games. But he'll definitely help you. But you got to shore up defensively, and you got to keep building. But I would think that has to be rock bottom just because of the time it is in the season. You cannot have the road trip and the homestand continue for another 2 to 3 weeks. You've got to win more every week than you're losing.
You can have a game like that again this year, but it has to come after winning like 8 out of 10.
Yeah, or you just...
Like, you have to win 8 out of 10. It's like, okay, we're going to have a really, really tough game. But it's like already there's the confidence that we can do it because that game was like beyond just the loss, Jim. It was like it just shattered the team's confidence.
I just don't think whether it's 3 games in a week or 4 games in a week, you can afford to go below 500 in a week.
Jim Toth, take you all the way to 2 o'clock. Thank you very much, Jeffrey Fortier, for producing the show. It's it for me. Back same time, Free for All Friday tomorrow. See ya.